I see the worst minds of any generation hysterically destroying the nation's decency, pushing themselves through halls of power, seeking nothing more than more angry power, who sell their brains to Moloch under the profits of war and oil and steel, and see a world dying but don't give a damn, low people elevated to high places, vile with cretinous intensity, who wealthy and ignorant and glassy-eyed sit up drinking in the unnatural darkness of cold, well-lit, calculating boardrooms, knowing the price of everything and the value of nothing, who pass through their MBAs and law degrees radiating icy lack of soul, hallucinating profit, steal, and more wars while surrounded by peacekeepers they won't see, and a control freak prime minister who claims not knowing who bribes whom in his totalitarian office, whose idea of paternal affection is a handshake, who in three-piece suits lecture diplomat rooms, burn 100 years' worth of dialogue, slash and burn international treaty obligations, drop out of climate agreements, completely disrespect the UN, carefully built bridges, leave everything unresolved, walk away, screw diplomacy, shut down the embassy, and secretly believe end days biblical fantasies justifications as peacekeeper budgets are also slashed and burned, diplomats muzzled by the PMO, a complete loss of our international reputation and effectiveness, who hamstring foreign aid budgets, cripple what's left by recreating it as a crutch for business, who refuse to read, see, think, contemplate any contraindication to their dog-eat-dog, hyper-individualistic Tea Party mentality that reduces my Canada to a flea among nations, proof positive that their best talents seek only confirmation of ignorance, fear of long-term thinking, and strategic adventure, who shut down every attempt to discover what's needed to clear it all up, shoot the messenger, to clear the mess that soils the commons, environment, air, water, food, but lots of money for new ways to spread hydrocarbons, and $3 billion for a 3-day meeting, $5 billion more per year for jails, $5 million for military uniform style changes, budget restraints, and endless bureaucracy for injured soldiers thrown into the ditch, $1 million more in court costs to deny injured soldiers benefits, whose shock doctrine imposition of Hayek, Friedman, Friends of Pinochet, Reagan, Thatcher, Chicago School, neo-lib con economics allows in Canada only throwing disagreeable people under the bus, much to their chagrin, not tossing dissenters from Chilean helicopters into an ocean 1,000 feet down before landing, who refuse to help children in poverty beyond mere subsistence, who balance budgets on the backs of homeless youth, wounded soldiers, and unprotected embassies while blessing the wealthy with income splitting, who follow a prime minister, theoretically an economist, who dismantles fair tax policy such that the nation's center is incrementally dismantled, who is above meeting the Council of Federation, terrified of any hint of consensus toward constructive confederation, who prefers a firewall-insulated PMO, who, with ignorant road-to-hell intentions, spread terror with tough-on-crime legislation such that a permanent criminal subculture emerges stronger in a time of declining crime, the world's lowest recidivism rate and best parole system now dismantled, agendas decried as counterproductive even in Texas, and seen as depraved, self-fulfilling prophecy creators of crime as rehabilitation, convict education, and prison farms are shut down, who legislate capital punishment by suicide via indefinite sensory deprivation, solitary confinement, administrative detention, behavior known to be cruel, torture, and unusual punishment by anyone with any decency, whose interminable court procedures to deny First Nations existence, rights, claims, equal education funding, whose stupid on-crime agenda disproportionately enhances a racist justice system, a slammer's the answer to everything philosophy, who, dissing responsibility to public service incrementally by the attrition, dismantle my nation's center, devolve governance to corporate anarchy, destroy public broadcasting with a CBC board of conservative hacks, heavy contributors to party funds intent on privatization, who honor a prime minister who ignores our own broadcaster, prefers Fox News cycles that interminably report on the size of players' balls, while ignoring Bible-thumping American senators' climate change denial. All cheer for the football circus, oil, and denial of funds for alternative energy research. Who promote views that government doesn't work and governs such that it really doesn't, by destroying Parliament, jackbooting all over democracy, gutting research budgets, dismantling environmental protection, privatizing food safety inspection, let the fox guard the chickens, as tripled cash flows into Action Canada propaganda rhetoric. Who attempt to bust every charter right we have while pretending to promote a libertarian freedom, every word redacted by PR shill window dressing. Who fortunately regularly have their chicken wings clipped by courts and renegade judges, who ignore minimum sentence rules, grant Aboriginal title to Native groups, protect citizens' online privacy from police, prevent Senate change without provincial consent, reject inappropriate judicial appointments, strike down as unconstitutional prostitution laws, and protect a supervised drug injection clinic. Eat your gaunch, Harper Social Conservatives, Cabinet and Friends. Who rogue, prorogue, harpia, villain, harpocracy, such that omnibus budget bills thrashing biospheres pass, assuring ongoing friendships with Cornwall alliances, preaching environment, repair, protection, and mitigation contradict God's will to expedite end days. Who secretly harbor religious conservatism, tribalism fantasies, averse to science, embrace climate change denial, loathe logic, defy rational discovery, close the library, pass the literal scriptures, read only one book, works great in Middle East affairs and Tea Party West Virginia. Why not Canada, going incrementally from democracy to harpocracy to theocracy? Who transport an entire cabinet and a full cohort of fundamentalist preachers to Israel to catalyze the conquest of the Temple Mount, thus clearing the way for a returning savior they've made into Moloch, and creating more conditions for mythic apocalyptic Armageddons that play well with their base. Who politicize terror in order to pump their numbers, can't straight answer anything, who erect a masterly facade of competence built on a scaffold of deception and replace rational debate with attack ads. Whose gods, money, market, and Jesus breathe fire, burn research, knowledge, science, and truth, deny researchers access to their own writing, fire the messengers, prefer a mythic unreality that lines pockets, regressive, preservative, ideological idiots, divinely inspired libertarian free market devotees of the Alberta petro-state, striving for ancient hellish completions of apocalyptic raptures for themselves. Hades is for the rest of us. Slammers the answer. Who replace science and technology strategy with self-serving business strategies, ignore basic research into public health, mental health, First Nations health, environmental health, and endangered species protection. Who believe poverty prevention is not a valid non-profit charity goal, God-fearing Christians who forget their teacher, Prince of Peace, once created community entirely nonviolent, entirely contrary to an obscene alchemy that's transformed their idea of him into modernity's Moloch, fundamentalist fascistic avatar. Who think their locked gate enclaves will protect them from nature's wrath, from the biosphere's final storms, from evolution's direction that endowing upright apes with big brains was maybe not such a great idea. Extinction will not spare the 10%. They are the least fit to survive. There will be no rapture, no bliss, only a century of heat death. One more great extinction, Earth's fifth, that includes us and doesn't spare capitalism's totalitarian, libertarian dinosaurs. My nation has become Moloch, ruled by a cabinet whose brains have been gobbled by a sphinx of cash, cement, oil, and steel, which cracked their skulls and sucked up their brains and imagination. Moloch, totalitarian capitalism, corporate Babelism. Moloch, stunned government run by a party of one, with executive power above the law and a cabinet of clones. Moloch, mind of pure machinery, whose blood is bitumen, whose love is endless oil and steel and cement and stone, for whom the Harper government and all its neocon co-conspirators breaks everybody's back, lifting Moloch to the heavens, enriching themselves no matter how dismal the economy they create for the other 90%, predatory global free traders who freed themselves with deregulation, financialization, privatization, corporatization, commodification, public goods cutbacks, commons shrinkage, who believe they keep us happy with trickle-down defecatization. Footnote to Growl. Totalitarian capitalism's dinosaurs will not win. Their willful ignorance will not drag us down to another great extinction. We who are human, who are humus, who are earth, are reclaiming, cooperating, expanding, and rebuilding, co-creating a greater commons for the common benefit of humanity, community, our earth mother, biosphere, in whom we live, who lives in us. The great turning is here. The global village planetization of consciousness is upon us, creating a new identity transcending survival of the fittest pathos. Darwin himself stated humans survive by cooperation and community creation. Now the eco-literate champions of empathy, compassion, cooperation, and community who know planetary interdependence of all nature, including us, yes, we are animals, are the most skilled to adapt and to survive. It's a habitat-centered planetary commons consciousness phenomenon. None of us make it until all of us do.
Wow.
The State of the Union Address, according to Gilles Cyrenne.
Yeah, the great Canadian poem.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.